Hey y'all, this is Lori with Reality Smack. I'm sorry if my energy seems a little bit low. I'm having one of those really bad self-esteem days today where I just can't feel like I look worth a hoot and I don't feel worth a hoot, and it's just been rough. But anyway, we're moving on to step 5 of the 12 steps today. I just needed to do another video because I hadn't done one in a while and I felt like I was slacking. Okay. Step 5 is we admitted to God and to ourselves and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. The 5th step is the key to freedom. It allows us to live in the present. Sharing the exact nature of our wrongs sets us free to live. After taking a thorough 4th step, we deal with the contents of our inventory. We are told that if we keep these defects inside us, they will lead us back to using. Holding on to our past will eventually sicken us and keep us from taking part in a new way of life. If we are not honest when we take a 5th step, we will have the same negative results that dishonesty brought us in the past. Step 5 suggests that we admit to God and to ourselves and to another human being the nature of our wrongs. We look at our wrongs, examine our behavior patterns, and start to see the deep aspects of our disease. Now we sit with another person and share our inventory out loud. Our higher power will be with us during this 5th step. We will receive help and be free to face ourselves and another human being. It is unnecessary to admit the exact nature of our wrongs to our... It seemed unnecessary to admit the exact nature of our wrongs to the higher power. God already knows that we rationalize that He already knows it. He knows the admission must come from our lips for it to be truly effective. Okay, that makes sense. Step 5 is not simply a reading of Step 4. For years, we avoided seeing ourselves as we truly were. We were ashamed of ourselves, felt isolated from the rest of the world. We felt the shameful part of our past trapped. Now we can sweep it out of our lives if we face it and admit it. It would be tragic to write it all down and then shove it in a drawer. Okay, so basically you're looking over what made you want to use. That's my taking of this in the first place. With me, I started to use because of pain issues from fibromyalgia. That's how the whole darn thing started. I had all this pain and didn't know how to deal with it, what to do to combat that pain. And I had tried all other avenues and nothing worked but pain meds and heavy pain meds and higher doses of pain meds. And so it's like it went from that to when I did have the drugs to control the pain, then it became an issue of if I became sad that day or upset, the pain would flare up worse and I would want to use more. So if I became sad, I would use more. If I became insecure, I would use more. If I felt like there was some sort of awkward, because I can remember even putting dots on my calendar for social occasions. Like if there was a meeting at my daughter's school, or if there was something I had to be focused and be with it on, I would make sure to put a dot above that date to remember, okay, that day, remember you need to use some pain meds so you can stay focused, so you can stay your better self, so to speak. I felt like my personality was much better when I was on drugs in a lot of ways. I was more calm. I was more social. I'm not saying I was a better person because I was intoxicated. This was not my true self on the inside. Who I am on the inside is kind of a scared, socially inept little bookworm that likes to hide and not talk to people because it's frightening. It really is. And whenever I do open my mouth and speak up, people tend to come at me like freaking torches. You know, ring your torches. Let's take down the Lori, you know, because she's opened her mouth and had an opinion. You know, Lord forbid a woman open their mouth in the South and have an opinion, and everybody will have a cow and say that she's not being a godly woman. She should have kept her mouth shut and tended to her children and babies and stayed at home. You know, what right does she have to have an opinion on anything? And then you wind up feeling bad, or that's the way I do. And then I retreat, and then I stop talking as much because people get mad because I have an opinion. You run into that rut when you're a woman, especially living in the South, but that's another point entirely. But it's that's a part of me that I'm sharing with you through going through this step right here. That is a defect of character on me. The fact that I'm scared to go out there and reveal myself. And part of the reason I can do it this way is because I'm behind a phone at the other end of somewhere and nobody can touch me. There's sort of this feeling of somewhat anonymity, even though it's not real. I mean, I know people can get on there and just as easily comment and badmouth me online, but online comments don't feel as bad as when you're in person. If you're in person, or if it's somebody close to you in real life that makes comments about the way you look or the way you act or the way you talk, it hurts so much more, and it gets you so much deeper, and it makes you want to use more than you would otherwise. And I think a lot of people have those same defects of character, and I don't want to say that's not a bad thing, but God made us all different, and we have to learn to deal with those defects of character in our own ways. And maybe these next few steps will lead us to some solutions to that, how to solve these defects of character and deal with it in a way that helps us get through this world, that helps us to be better people and be able to manage the disease of addiction and feel better about ourselves. One thing I ran into earlier this week was I was sitting down with my therapist, and she asked me, what are 3 things that are strengths about yourself, 3 things you like about yourself? And my mind just drew a total and complete blank. I couldn't think of anything in that moment that I liked about myself. And I'm sorry if I'm getting a little teary-eyed here. But honestly, that was the way I felt right then and there. I could not think of a single thing good about myself right then and there. That's bad. You don't need to mentally go to that place where you feel worthless and useless. You need to find things about yourself to like, to want to live, to want to not use. That's a slippery slope when you start thinking bad thoughts about yourself. So I've started looking into, I ordered a book about positive thinking to try to help me there. And I've started looking online for websites that have tips about quotes you can look at that lead to more positive thinking, so I can rewire my brain, so I can think of myself in a more positive light. And maybe that's a step in the right direction towards solving my defects of character. But that concludes this step this evening. And I hope it helped somebody out there, but anyway, that's all I got to say for tonight. And sorry again that my energy is low and my self-esteem is like down in the basement, but some days are just like that, and that's just me being real, being who I am. But I love y'all. Have a good night.